My name is Toni. I'm the CEO and board member of BlockSpirit, which is engaging in the digital transformation. We are passionate to empower our clients in order to build the dots. And I think we have now a very unique opportunity because tokenization gets now in process. Because I was always there when something changed. It was a paradigm change. I can give you an example. We started in Sofx. Sofx was the migration of open outcry trading, and we migrated that to technology. That was quite interesting. And at this point in time, nobody said that will be a success, because these guys are stupid, they are playing around with themselves. Then you could see that the structured product came, it came standardization, and nowadays, I think, without structured product, our limit would be really hard. The next one was EBS, was the same thing, and I flipped from the sell side then to the buy side. And honestly, I think now it's the third shift of paradigm change, because now we go into the digital world, which is the digital transformation. So the presentation is split up in 3 blocks. We go back in 2019. Everything started with Crypto Mountain in Sion. There it was a vision. I will bring you through the journey, what happened there quickly. I will tell you why it didn't happen, the vision, at this point in time. And then in the second block, I will have a measurement in status quo, and I tell you why is now the right time to start with, and I give you some insight how you have to develop that. And then we have the main part of the presentation. It's a new product launch of our new product, which is OpenX, which will be done by Toni. Back in 2019, I was given a mandate to build up a department carrying out a framework to open up accounts for blockchain and crypto companies. This was a wild and pioneering time because everybody thought you were stupid to open up for this kind of company, which is a little bit in the black scene, to do this. How did we tackle this? How did we manage to build a bridge between traditional banking and digital banking? That's quite important, because yesterday we heard a little bit, well, no regulation, we have to go DeFi, it has to peer-to-peer. Yes, of course, that's a target, but I think it's important to build a bridge and take the best out of the two worlds and combine them. And this is a use case I want to describe to you quickly how this can happen. So, in a nutshell, in April 18, the bank I was working with, they said, we are opening up accounts. Guess what? They got 1,300 applications in 9 months. And these are original PowerPoint presentation I made in Sion, I think it was in September, October 19. October. And this was a statistic. Why did they fail? Because there was no match with the original product. This is red apart. The process was too lengthy, and people had to wait, and a lot of companies were not active, and they had high US dollar payments, which was a nightmare. As you know, Uncle Sam is looking on that, and some banks, like in Liechtenstein, lost their correspondent because they were heavily involved in this type of thing. What we did in the second step is the process. Very important news. You have to fight with like Aikido. What is Aikido? Go very close to your enemy, take them on board, make workshops, and try to align with them. Find consensus. That's what we did. And we find out a role and a way how we could do this. Lastly, I said, the account is the key door opener for a business relationship with digital entrepreneurs. What can a bank do in order to help him on his journey? And the main part is on the low end, which is tokenization. It was not the time of ICOs anymore. It went into STOs and build up an ecosystem, which is very important. How does this ecosystem could look like? In the middle, you have a mainframe. On the left-hand side, you have the B2C client. On top, you have asset management and markets. And this is an official presentation. I took up some slides, but you can imagine who it is. On the right-hand side, you have the fintechs. And Underneath, you see the bank on banks, and there is also a digital bank there. And I only plugged in with the Leitfaden this kind of digital entrepreneurs. In a nutshell, what is the idea? If you can build up a family office for this kind of types, you can help them to follow in the journey, and you can link the traditional process you have in a bank, which is private banking, asset management, financial control, everything. Why didn't it happen? Well, at this point in time, the legal framework was about to come. We didn't have yet the DLT Act, the DLT law from the 21st of August, and the marketplaces were about to come. I was also a member of the user group, and there was a big fight between the big banks who wanted to ring-fence their business cases, which was sec lending, and they weren't so keen to have real-time settlement. There was not really something they wanted to have. Tokenization platform, they were okay. Education was lacking a little bit. And the project pipeline was there, but the market participants, they were a little bit reluctant. And there was a lack of standardization standards. If we zoom in today, in Switzerland, totally different. I'm 100% sure that we are in a privileged position. Why? The DLT Act is a key and a bridge for institutional investors to help them to have the right framework. Digital marketplaces like SDX are in place. Tokenization platforms are there as well. Education is happening. We are working very close with Fachhochschule Ost, and we are also a partner of digital assets, where we have a standardization program for SDO. Project pipeline is coming up. How does this happen? Thomas and I worked together in an innovation program, not in Canton Zug, but in Canton Schwyz. And the innovation program is developing. And there are several kind of projects which got paid, and they will do tokenization here in Switzerland in Canton Schwyz. I also can see that banking participants are more interesting, and you can build a bridge between supply and demand. That's very important. Tokenization standards are in place. We talked that yesterday, and I think we are partner of this, which is very important. Europe is catching up, certainly Germany, but nonetheless, I think there are a lot of projects on the enterprise level which come to Switzerland. And if you listen to the market, there will be some sounding names from Germany coming into Switzerland for tokenization. But we have a little advantage, and I think it's time to materialize on that. This is it. Any questions?
You had mentioned that you had partnered with your enemy. Did you not say that?
Yes, that's it.
My question has to do with what were the technological and philosophical differences, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I think we had a big advantage that this bank is quite innovative and also in the IT space. It was positive. It was open. I think the hurdle was risk and the fear to do something wrong, because it's a misperception what the crypto market and the digital market is doing. I think it was a lack of knowledge, and we had to overcome this. And I think the main part was in this education round that we found the balance and educated them and understood what they wanted from to understand from our side to make a product. Consensus. I think it's to find the consensus and build a bridge between the traditional bank, and we talked also today about the legal framework, which is very detailed, very hard, but you have to find the right balance how we can move this further, and I think that's the way to do. It's teamwork.
There's another question here.
Please.
Sorry, Guido. Just one quick question. It's nice to hear that you think projects are going to come back into Switzerland. So I was working at the Crypto Valley Association in 2017 in the ICO boom, and literally the phone rang every single day with projects streaming into Switzerland. That quieted down a bit. What do you think is going to be the driver this time? Is it going to be mostly regulation? Because, for example, if the SEC goes on a rampage against digital assets, or what do you think is going to do that?
I think it's a very good question. Safety, quality, and a long history and support from the government. As you remember, Uli Maurer was very much supportive of this kind of business case some years ago. Crypto is one thing. I think Canton Schwyz is another thing. And to build up the pipeline. It's like the Rubik's Cube. If you bring together the DLT framework, education, standard, technology, and the trust, and we will talk about in a second, I think that's the way to do it. And Europe, I think Germany is coming close. It's coming close with MiCAR, Elektronisches Wertpapiergesetz, and the SSI, but they are lagging a little bit behind. And there is also, if somebody is interested and is a lawyer, look in NIS 2. There's a new directive and fasten your seatbelt on this. I think it's a little bit safe harbor situation here in Switzerland. And that we have also a strong, small and mid-sized company which we want to support in project finances. It's also something very important if you democratize the financing. I really think Switzerland is the place to be because technology is global. What we learned, we are still in some hours, how do I say, within the frontiers, and I think this is a superb environment to do this.
It's Guido. I think first a remark, if you're talking about DLT in Switzerland, we have a DLT license in Switzerland, but nobody received it up to now. So this is one thing. And you're talking about MiCA. MiCA is a huge regulation, and everybody is celebrating it as a good regulation. But if you look to the details, what it means for international companies and European companies, it's a nightmare. So it's not the best advertisement for that. But I would like to have an additional question to Jason's question. What values you had to give up to build the bridge to the old world of the banks?
Not really to give up values. I think the goal was different. If I go with a black and white approach, I couldn't convince them. So I tried to team them up. And I think it's a positive environment if you listen to somebody else and maybe they also have some good things in the traditional world. So I don't think I have to give up something. It's target-oriented. We want to solve together the issue.
One last question. How do you, as a project, overcome the ignorance that you had to deal with technically and philosophically insofar as knowing that what you're building is the future in the short and intermediate and long term? And how do you convince them to come over to the other side, which they've never been before?
Team up with the right people.
This is a part of the panel.
Yes.
It's a good question for the panel.
A very good question.
We noted it and we will discuss this in the panel because different opinions count on that.
Indeed.
Okay.
But you will see, we have found the right people who can talk business side, and we can translate it into IT solutions, which are outstanding. And I think that's the way to do. Do it step by step, convince the project, make it happen. Liaise with the market participant, being exchanges, and we can talk also, I can give you some examples, how we can do this in the panel. Do it slowly but surely. Maybe you don't go from the Mount Everest in once, but you have to take it in phases, step by step, every day.
Okay, thank you very much. Toni, you are finished?